Basically, the All India Democratic Women's Association is an organization, as you are all aware, that works amongst the absolutely deprived, marginalized section of women. Now, working amongst those sections of women, obviously, who are always in a very big crisis, money and having some kind of credit is a very big priority. Now, keeping that in mind, what we have seen in our daily works all over the country, in various parts of the country, that in rural areas, if you even see something like, say, 20, 25 years ago, in rural areas, we have always seen that banks were basically looked upon as saviors. Whenever we used to go to women, especially in the tribal areas, we have noticed that they used to feel that, you know, if they were any time in a crisis or any time they were in trouble, they could try and get some kind of a small loan or something like that, which could help them overcome that crisis. So basically, banks means either loan or saving. That's it. Nothing more than that. I mean, they never understood what are the different schemes that the banks have, or all these fixed deposit aspects, or any kind of interest accumulations. Nothing. All they knew is when they needed money, they could take a loan, or when they had some money, little bit, they could save. That is all that was understood of the bank. Now, of course, and the banks really never took any, I think, special effort or at all to try and involve the local people around whom they were catering to explain what were the benefits of the different schemes. It is only like in the cities when you see, when we go to a bank, then you will find the person at the counter telling that, you know, this is the new scheme. If you invest in this, maybe your, tax will get, you'll get tax benefit or this or that. But in the rural areas, you find nothing of that sort happening at all. So obviously they are totally unaware what banks otherwise do. Now, secondly, you see, when we are talking of banks and women, actually in today's also whole presentation, if you see, generally it is always seen in only two things. One is either Janadhan account or the SHG. I mean, there is something more than that where women and banks are concerned. But why we only concentrate on SHG and Jandhan is because there is really nothing else more than that for women in the banks. If you go to see like that, I mean, there are no special schemes where, for specially for at the local, I'm talking basically at the local or the rural level, those small women who want to do something, there is no encouragement coming like that from the banking sector. And so that is why SHGs was a very big thing. And I still remember that when the SHGs actually started, women were very, very wary. Nobody really wanted to go into it or open the account. Nobody trusted with the mechanism, because you see, there were a lot of sarkari people put in charge, the panchayat samitis or the Anganwadi women. All of them were given, contracts in the sense of they were given responsibilities that you have to make so many SHGs, you have to see to it that they open their accounts and all. And that's where in many parts of the country, ADWA played a very important role to encourage women. And let me tell you that having an account in the bank was something, was like a sort of a revolutionary step for the women. I still remember the face of that tribal woman who came so proudly and I said that I have an account in my name, because women's names don't appear anywhere. If you see, it's neither on their house, neither on their utensils, neither on the land, neither on any property. Their women's names don't appear. So the appearance of her name on the bank account was a very, very big thing for her. And it like gave her a great sense of self-respect. It gave her a great sense of independence. She looked at it how, as if that's the place where she can hide her money. Otherwise, she had to hide her money into rice bins or under some clothes and all that from her husband. So that's the place where she thought she could really stock up her money, however little it was. But it gave her a great sense of independence. But later on, it started getting more and more difficult. what happened? We found slowly, slowly the whole scenario in the banks also changing. This whole linkages and the whole the operations of the banks also changed, in the sense of the whole you see, all banks didn't get computerized immediately. So in the rural areas, in many places, even now, in fact, in some, even in a Thane Palghar city district in Maharashtra, we find the very interior rural banks have got computerized just recently. So when all that happened, then things started getting very messy, because women would come from very, very interior places. They would stand from morning 7 o'clock in the lines. The bank would open some at 8:30, some at 10 o'clock. And after that, they would get a reply that there is no electricity, or there is no internet, or the computer has broken down. Now that poor lady, she would just keep sitting there till the bank closes, in the hope that the electricity may come or the computer may start working. Now, this caused tremendous harassment and then total disillusionment with also the banks. And that is why you find many times the women just refuse to go to the banks at all. Now, even the SHGs, the whole loan structure, I think already it has been mentioned earlier, so I won't go into the details of that. But the loan structure, the first loan of 10,000, and then if they are able to repay that, then it will come 25,000, then it will come 1 lakh. But along with the loans, what we found that the SHGs were not having linkages with other factors which would help them to get some earning to be able to pay back the loan. And so what was happening, that the loan that was taken, which what they had to do with that loan means some income generation activity. Not all of them could do it at all, because suppose even if they made something, there was no market for it. They didn't know how to package it. They were not trained, and they didn't even know how to go and sell it. So in the bargain, what would happen, that they would be paying back sometimes the loans through their own savings. That means the very purpose for which the loan was being given was being defeated. But in government records, it was coming as if there's a great empowerment of SHGs going on, because so much loan has been taken. That means so many women have become small entrepreneurs. So many women are now earning, but that was not totally true. Now, as the crisis in society increased, as you all know what is happening after the neoliberal policies and all that, the SHGs started rushing into every kind of schemes that the government was opening up for them. Like, for example, cooking of Anganwadi food, or cooking the midday meal in schools. There was a rush to get those contracts, but there was no support from the government on that issue, in the sense that no cheap rations were not supplied, or cheap grains were not supplied. And then what happened in the bargain, it is amazing. Actually, a study should be done on it. We've done that in certain areas, but it's amazing how government schemes were run by the hard earned money of the self-help groups. Because this Anganwadi and midday meal, they used to buy the grains from the shop on credit, and then they were not able to pay back the bills, is because the bills which had to be sanctioned from the administration side never used to be sanctioned easily, also would never be sanctioned without a payment of commission to the concerned officer who was in charge. And all these factors played out, and finally we have n number of SHGs who have used up their savings for the Anganwadi and midday meal, and now they got into a vicious circle. Because they'd used up the savings, they could not pay the shop fellow for the grains. Because they could not pay the shop for the grains, he would not lend them. Because he would not lend them, they could not cook the Anganwadi food in time. Because they could not do that, they were blacklisted. And because they were blacklisted, they lost the contract. But in this whole chakkar, they never got their money. That was the basic thing. Now, when that happened, a lot of SHGs got totally dissuaded from taking up any kind of activity. And then it comes to taking loans. Now, these loans also, as Kalpana has rightly said, she has said, she has used a much more politically correct word of using the word of gifting the bank. There were no gifts, my dear. They were plain bribes. So the bank officials or any of these other officials, they would ask for a cut. And imagine asking for a cut from a woman who has come there in such poor clothes. You can see she's so poor. But the heartlessness of the entire structure, it is not the heartlessness of only that bank employee, because everybody is looting. Everybody is looting, from the bank employee to the Panchayat Samiti officer to the police officer, to everybody is looting the poor. So the bank officer is a part of that. And that is why you see, but the loans, then comes the MFI. Now, MFI are not only institutions which get money from the bank. Firstly, we have no idea from where they get all their monies. Because even where banks have not reached, the MFIs have reached. In the interior tribal areas, you won't find a bank, but you'll find an MFI, definitely over there. Now they are coming with money like as if, you know, they are pots and pots of money. How they are, from where is this money? How is it regulated? The ADWA has given a memorandum, and we are going to give it again to the RBI on regulation of MFIs. But nothing really. They say they are regulating. We have no idea of how they are regulating, because we can see that they are unregulated. They are just doing anything, and all kinds of things. Somebody is just put in a message not agreeing with me about the bribes. I'm not making any allegation on any officer or any bank official, but I'm telling you from my own experience, that when we went to the bank, a loan of 20,000 had to be sanctioned. The concerned officer said, you will have to give administration charges of 5,000. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. So we are not making a outright allegation. And also, I'm not trying to demean any bank karmachari. I think the bank people have worked very hard during demonetization. I think they were in the worst situation ever in the country. But it's a fact which one cannot ignore. So it is, we should not try to defend the indefensible, but this is a fact. It does happen some places, and I have personally experienced it. So this is something that really needs to be looked into. Then the loans, the MFI came into the picture at that time. Now MFIs, as if they project themselves over there as if they are the savior of the people over there. They come with, you know, and the way they talk, the way they lure these women who are in desperate need of money. The desperation, you cannot even understand what the desperation could be. It is, they're just desperate. Somebody will give them some money in whatever way at that point of time, then they will definitely see that they will get that money. So cheap loans, no collateral needed, but a fantastic interest rate, which none of these women who take the loans can calculate. They are also assured of that. They also know very clearly that these women will not be able to calculate. So whatever amount they say have to be paid, has to be paid. And that is why now we are also giving the RBI a memorandum that the moratorium that has been put on the loans of banks up to 31st of August, there is absolutely no, it is not bound to the MFIs, though they are including MFIs, but the reality is MFIs are going, harassing the women.